Good evening, Sanjay ji. How are you?
All well, all well. So I would like to introduce Anil ji. I know Anil ji for many years now. So Anil ji is a spiritual teacher, and I would call it he's a master of Advaitic tradition, from where Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi comes and other teachers
Yeah,
like
okay.
Muji ji.
Sure. Yeah,
And
yeah,
also, I would like to tell that he is not just a spiritual teacher, but he is also an electrical engineer who is working, and he's working now part time, giving more time to the spiritual seekers and helping them. He lives in Sydney, and he runs a Ramana Maharishi Centre there, and I believe for more than 20 years now. He
yeah,
has written
yeah.
many books on Advaitic tradition, life beyond death, Aham Self, and so many others. And you can reach him through sageramana.org website, and you can find more information about him. So I'll welcome Anil ji, and we will discuss today few topics on Advaita and other things which we can speak to him and get some knowledge. Thank you, Anil
Sure.
ji.
Yeah,
Nice meeting you.
yeah. Thank you,
So,
Sanjay ji, for the nice introduction. But I just want to add here as well my Rishi Master Biensa Douno, who was originally in Bulgaria. So he has also been the guiding factor in my life in the journey to self-abidance.
yes, yes. So let's start with your master first, because I know that you have two masters. One is you call Master Biensa Douno, and you call
Yeah.
him Rishi. The other one
I,
you say
yeah,
Sage.
I just
One is Sage and one other is Rishi. So what
Rishi.
is the difference between Sage and Rishi?
So actually, that is just distinguishing between the two, but that is how it has actually naturally come. That I've always referred to. I don't refer to either of them by name. So when I say sage, it is Sage Ramana Maharishi, and when I say it's the Rishi, then that refers to Master Biensa Douno.
Okay.
Does that help?
So the prefix has no different meaning. It is they just.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
So let me just touch upon something here, Sanjay ji, because the purpose of our recording this conversation is that we can help whoever is actually listening, so that they can get some knowledge about where we are heading. So you see what you have got to really understand, Sanjay ji, here is that there are these cycles of evolution, right? And when we go from one yuga or one phase or cycle of evolution to another cycle of evolution, so during that time there are these great higher beings. I call them super beings, right? They come in because they help in that what we call as the transition from one phase to another, right? So basically, we were in what we call as the Kali Yuga, which actually has sort of finished in 1999. And then on 22nd of March, 1914, the golden age or the Satya Yuga has actually started. So during this transition period, if you look back into the 18th century and the 19th century, and now we are into the 20th century, many great high beings, like Neem Karoli Baba, Rudolf Steiner, Sage Ramana Maharishi, Master Rishi Biensa Douno have actually come to earth and gone, and they have contributed immensely, you see, for the growth of humanity as a whole. Because where we are heading towards now is basically, see, all of them actually taught that look, at the end of the day, all humanity is actually one. We may follow a particular religion, and we may follow a particular spiritual path, but in the end, we are all seeking what we call as a state of unconditional happiness. What we are seeking is unity actually with the reality. So this has been very beautifully actually brought forward by the two with whom I am actually personally connected, because in the 90s, I had what you call as an awakened Kundalini, or what you call as the rising of cosmic currents. So due to that, my brain is, a little bit, I'll say, abnormal, actually, you can say. And as a result of that, you see, like I'm actually communicating with you in the same way I communicate both with Sage Ramana and Rishi, Master Biensa Douno, and that forms the basis of whatever knowledge I put forward. But as I've said that on 21st of September 2016, sorry about that, I actually attained what you call as self-abidance, or oneness with the reality. So I hope that this puts things in perspective and kickstarts, our conversation.
So what are the real teachings of Rishi Master Biensa Douno? What are his major teachings?
Well, when you look at the teachings of Master Biensa Douno, he has given 7,500 talks during his lifetime, right? And he used to just stand up and actually start talking. So if you talk about any aspect of humanity, whether you talk unity with God, or you talk about, yoga exercises, or you talk about medicine, or you talk about diseases, or you talk about Mother Nature, you name anything, he has gone into great detail of every aspect. So when you say what are his actually main teachings, his main teachings are everything that a human being will actually need so that he can grow into a better person and grow spiritually. He has provided all aspects of that knowledge, which is actually, I think, unique. And I have to say, never been presented in the way that he has touched every aspect of a human being.
But what is the teaching for a spiritual seeker?
You see, okay, what is actually the highest purpose of human birth, right? The highest purpose of actually human birth is that based on the experiences that we accumulate from a spiritual perspective, you see, you realize your true nature, right? Like what Sage Ramana has said, and the great Indian teachers, or what Jesus has actually taught, that me and my Father are one, to realize your changeless reality, not the changing reality. The changing reality, we know, it changes actually every day. To realize your higher nature and to be in oneness with the changeless reality, that every one of us may actually become like how Gautam Buddha became, or how Shankaracharya became, or how Jesus actually became, or how Sage Ramana or Master Biensa Douno became. So you see, what the Rishi, Master Biensa Douno, has given, he has provided you with all the tools that actually you will need to go forward in that path and attain that goal.
Like we know that Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi talked about self-inquiry, the direct path.
Yes.
Who am I? So what in that, in a short way, what path Master Biensa Douno has said?
Yeah, you see, now this is actually an interesting question. So as I said, that Master Biensa Douno has touched every aspect of, for a person actually to grow. So he touches every level. Because when you talk about who am I, right? Sage Ramana himself has said that it is not for the spiritual aspirants who are just starting or in the middle of that spiritual path. It is for the ones who are the most advanced and ripe and ready to be in self-abidance, right? So whereas just looking at it from the Rishi Master Douno's perspective, he gives you simple exercises, right? He gives you very simple teachings, how to actually undertake meditation. He talks about, the cycle with respect actually to the sun, that how solar energy actually influences us, at what time actually we should be getting up, what we should be doing actually during that day. He talks about Mother Nature. And then he has given hundreds and hundreds of practices and prayers actually which can be undertaken so that you can grow and attain that same goal as what the sage actually has been teaching. So there is something for virtually everyone, right? But because you see, he is coming from a different stream, being from the Western side, it's there is no theory. It's all just practical, You can pick up anything, read about it. Like, why should you be a vegetarian, right? He has given, every single vegetable and every single fruit which is there. He has actually given the evolution of that and how it actually affects you, right? There's a book actually which, I mean, these are compiled by his students. Every single disease that a human being may actually have, he has given the method of how you can actually cure it from a vegetarian perspective, right? So then when we talk about meditation, then he has explained how actually meditation actually is to be taken place. And one of his, one of the greatest contributions to humanity is that he has given these, in yoga, when you do the advanced exercises, it's not actually easy, right? You have to really mold and your body needs to be flexible. But what he has given is what you call as the penurhythmy, right? So by this penurhythmy, these are very simple exercises, but what you do is that you actually connect with beings of the higher world, and that cosmic, that higher spiritual energy naturally flows into you. Now, this is not what this person called Anil is saying, but when you look at many of his followers who are actually there, they've been practicing for years, and they have written very beautiful books, and very beautiful experiences actually has been given, right? And then when we talk about who am I, because you see, the teachings of the sage and the teachings of the Rishi Master Biensa Douno are similar. They match each other, right? Because when we talk about who am I, you really have to understand who are you really, right? You have to understand about your aura. You've got to understand about your higher bodies. Unless you penetrate within, this is what the Rishi, Master Biensa Douno, or my Rishi has taught, and that is what Sage Ramana also taught. Go within. How do you actually go within? First, you need to understand yourself, right? Where are you going, right? I mean, are you going into your feelings? Are you going into your thoughts? Or are you going into your spirit body, or your Atma, or your higher nature? So all these, you pick up any aspect of that, whether it is about reincarnation or life beyond death or related to health, all this actually has been given. But the Master himself says that my key teaching is actually covered in this, what we call as penurhythmy. Let me do a simple thing, right, while we are there. So you see, this is your heart center, here, right? So if I go like this, so basically when you come from your heart and going up outwards, you are touching that entire universe. The light is flowing from within you to everywhere in the universe, right? You see, every morning I do a simple exercise, thanking actually, Divine Mother. So, that is basically, oh Divine Mother, thank you for everything that you have actually provided to us, right? May we learn to obey your cosmic laws, because human beings are actually punished very severely by nature and by the Divine Mother because we break its laws. That is actually the reason why Pralay, everything actually finishes and then a new phase actually comes out. Look at the dinosaurs. They were there at one time. They went away. You see, prior to that was the Lemurian period. Right after the Lemurian period came the Atlantean period. After the Atlantean period, we are in the current age. Now, the current age will eventually one day come to an end, and then the golden age will actually come, But we have actually got to look at it at if you break the cosmic laws of Mother Nature, then because Mother Nature loves us, she finishes us and renews us, in a different space, in a different format. So these are some of the teachings coming from the Rishi, Master Biensa Douno.
And if someone wants to know more about Master Biensa Douno's teachings, is there any website or any place?
Yeah. Oh, yes. So you see, his followers who are there, because the Master left his physical form in 1945, right? So his students, actually, one of his students is there in Varna in Bulgaria, right? He has actually, he put up a website where all his talks, all his lectures, all his books actually can be downloaded. And even I have actually taken permission from them, there's a big center there as well of the Rishi. So I've taken permission from them, and I'm also going to actually set up a website where all these things will be available. But all that you have to do is just Google, teachings of Master Biensa Douno, and you will have access to all these sites and all his lectures. They are available for free. There is no copyright as well on these, It is really for individuals to use, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Anilji, so people who are following the path of Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi,
yes,
maybe you can make it more simplified with your own understanding, with your own wisdom, so people can, because there are a lot of spiritual seekers who are taking that path all over the world, and I think the devotees are increasing exponentially who are into this. So it will be good if you can just reflect your own wisdom on Bhagwan's teachings and how to be in self-abidance.
Okay, you see, basically what the sage has actually taught is that find out who are you, right? So when we talk about who are you, you see, like I do actually a series of satsangs, which I would like to actually, finally the sage and the master have actually asked me to make videos of that. So look at it, there are two aspects, right? This is all about actually going within and realizing your true reality. So how actually are you going to realize your true reality? I'll use these, say, two words, two lines actually. You see, we are conscious of everything that changes, right? So can we be conscious of that which does not change? So that the first aspect of who am I is that you really have to find out that where is this God, which is beyond space and time, and which is actually the changeless reality. Where is it present? Right here, exactly where you are, right? So once actually you have experiences, conscious experiences of this changeless reality, that is one part of who am I, right? Then the second part is, then you go into what we call as the changing aspect, right? Because anything which is changing needs space and time, right? And then the final clarity of this actually comes when you are actually able to understand this changing aspect as well. And then you are actually able to correlate that which is changeless, right, is equal to that which is actually changing. Once actually this equation is completed, and I'm not saying by meditation, by yoga or whatever, but by the clarity of your knowledge, when that is attained, then that will actually naturally lead to your higher nature, and it will naturally lead to what we call as unconditional happiness, right? Now, should I go a little bit more and elaborate a bit more into this?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, there are, I'll just give you one simple straight answer. You see, anything actually that you do, Sanjay ji, okay, I'm asking you this question. Anything actually that you do, isn't it that you have got to be conscious of that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You see, anything you do in space and time, the first thing actually in that is that you've got to be conscious first of whatever actually you're doing. Right? Now, this very consciousness or this very awareness, you see, Scott Morrison, a follower of Sage Ramana, had listen that look, whatever you do, before you start doing a thing, during the time that you do a thing, and when you finish doing a thing, it is within that consciousness, because you've got to be conscious of whatever actually you undertake, right from the start, in between, and right up to the end. So there is no experience actually either before or after or within actually consciousness, isn't it? You are surrounded by what you call as that reality, right? So this very consciousness, this actually, you see, this was my own personal experience when suddenly I attained that self-abidance, that this very consciousness, this is the self. This is the reality that actually you are trying to seek. You give up this seeking and you look at this, and then it comes that, look, this is something neither too grand nor too humble. It is simply the truth. If you accept it, then your journey or your battle has actually come to an end, right? So this is just a starting point. But how, you see, this is that question which actually arises, right? So let us look at two aspects, right? So, I actually put this question to you, Sanjay ji, that you do know that you are actually Sanjay ji, or you don't.
Yes.
Right? No one tells you. You have grown up now that you know that you are actually Sanjay. But then, right? Is my voice still coming?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's clear.
yeah. So this one actually should be here, I think. I'm just trying to fix this. Yeah, okay. It's my, yeah, oh no. So sorry, I'm just, I'm not a person of, new technologies, right? I'm just getting used to them. So now the question is that you have got no doubt at all that actually you are Sanjay ji, right? And look at it. This is where you have got to look. It's not discussions with Sage Ramana or what Anil ji is actually teaching. That's actually where the truth lies. So, you see, if you say that you are actually Sanjay ji, then the question which arises is that who is telling you that you are actually Sanjay ji? Think about it for a minute, right? Now, the answer which comes directly to this question is that who tells you that you are actually Sanjay ji? Of course, that is Sanjay ji himself, isn't it? You only are actually telling yourself that you are Sanjay ji. So now find out who is this you who is telling actually you are actually Sanjay ji, and that actually is your higher nature. That is the reality. That is the self that actually I'm talking about, right? So this is what Sage Ramana meant. Go within. So this is the first question. That who is actually telling you that you're actually Sanjay ji? Simple answer to that is you are the one who is telling you are actually Sanjay ji, right? Then look at that second thing. Who actually became Sanjay ji, if that is the case, right? And again, the simple answer to that is that you only became Sanjay ji. So, if that you actually became Sanjay ji, that you actually is that reality, so that reality actually has become Sanjay ji, and Sanjay ji is active in this world, and whatever actually Sanjay ji sees and Sanjay ji is connected with, when actually you go really deep into that, and when you really understand that, that's what I was saying about the changing world. You see, this changing world of space and time, that is where actually you find out that it is that same you, that same universal reality which actually is there, right? That's why Sage Ramana used to say that always be conscious of the underlying current. And that is where actually you connect with that which is changeless. And you're actually able to look into that which is actually changing. Because you see, the truth is this. You never left your true nature, right? If you look at it, that you see, this you who is telling you're actually Sanjay ji, when actually you find that this is the universal witness. This is actually the reality. This is actually consciousness. That's a simple exercise. If you sit here and just let go, you can find that this entire space and time, right? This entire space and time is actually within this consciousness. This consciousness seems to go beyond this, right? So look, this is very actually deep, but I'm just giving you just a few, hints actually to what Sage Ramana is actually talking about this Who Am I? Second thing, right? You really need to know who you really are, right? And this has been written in great detail in the book Life Beyond Death. And the sage himself actually got me in 2010 to republish when I had left all these things, And this book is available on Amazon, online, e-copy, or at Ramana Ashram. A lot of copies actually sell there. So you see, you really have to know when you talk about actually who am I, and when you talk about going within, then the question which arises is that Sanjay ji, you are actually sitting in front of me. Of course, you are listening to me, isn't it? We cannot take that away. Now, for you to listen to me, there are, you see, two very basic things in a human being. One is that we have these thoughts which come into us, right? And then every thought is connected with a feeling. So, the question which arises is that how do thoughts come to us and how do feelings come to us, right? So just in very, very simple words, when you actually stretch your hands, right? When you stretch your hands, 1 feet to the right of you and 1 feet to the left of you, before your elbow, right? This may be a little bit not easy to comprehend as I'm explaining, but I'm trying to explain it to the very best. 1 feet to the right of you and 1 feet to the left of you with your arms stretched, right? If you draw a circle all around you, that is actually your astral body, or what the ancient rishis actually called the body of desire, or the body of emotions, what in English is called actually the astral body. That is the source of your feelings, right? And if you look at it, a human being, why is the astral body just around the physical body, 1 feet all around him? Because you see, you've got to be very honest to yourself. We really work with our emotions. Even when you requested, and we've been trying to have this interview for such a long time, so this must be a deep feeling within Sanjay ji, which has finally now taken roots, and we are having this, conversation, right? Because you see, we mostly work with our emotions. We don't work with our thoughts. Thoughts seem to be still coming and going. But, the human being is basically, I would say, an entity or a being of emotions, because emotions are raw. We work with our emotions, with our likings, dislikings, right? But you've got to go beyond. Now we are going within, right? Now, after your, what you call, astral body or emotional body, now both Sage Ramana and Master Biensa Douno have explained this quite in detail, right? So after that, you see, after going 1 feet, if I come up, say, this is my elbow, right? Here is the elbow, right? Now, 6 inches coming from within the elbow, right? Where your astral body is actually ending is your mental body, right? So this mental body is the source of your thoughts. That is from where your thoughts come. Now we can go into greater detail of how the thoughts and the feelings travel into the physical body, but for the purposes of this discussion, right? Let's limit it to that. Now you see, so thoughts have come and feelings have actually come. But the question which arises, Sanjay ji, is from where is this light of consciousness coming? Right? You never think about one thing, right? And this was actually taught to me both by the sage and by the Rishi, that you see, as I'm sitting here, right, I've got a virtual background at the back. We were discussing about it, and you said, you don't want the natural background. So I said, okay, do you like this one? So we had that. Look, it doesn't matter, you see, because at the end of the day, it is basically the conversation, what we are actually trying to give out, right? But look at one thing, and I would request anyone who is actually listening to this, that please pay attention to this, that how does whatever you see really appear in front of you? Yeah, people say, my eyes are looking at it, my brain is actually functioning, but these are only structures within the human body. How does the view appear right in front of you? You know why? The view actually appears in front of you because of your higher nature, right? This physical body, then that is attached to the etheric body, right? This physical body, astral body and mental body, this is only your lower nature. This is your cycle of reincarnation, right? But beyond this, as I said, remember that you've got to find out, you've got to look at that which is changeless, right? What is it that is actually changeless? You see, look at one thing. Since you are a little boy, Sanjay ji, until now, the view has been always appearing in front of you, all around. You look and the view is actually there. Of course, the images keep on changing in that view, but your ability to see the view never changes. How does this happen? So when you stretch your arms after your elbow, right up to where your hands are, is basically what you call as your body of intuition, right? Or this is called the bodic body in Sanskrit, actually, right? So what does intuition mean? You see, or this is the intuitive body. So what does the intuitive body mean, or what does intuition mean? That you are actually able to see something without any thoughts and without any feelings. Now, as actually you are sitting, you can see the view around you, even though you're actually listening to, what Anil ji is saying, but this view still seems to be appearing right in front of you, without any feeling, without any thought, without any activity. The view is there, right? So this is your body of intuition. This is the higher body. And the interesting thing is this is really who you are. We are penetrating deeper into who am I, right? Now, so this intuitive body actually stretches up to where your hands are, right? So it is almost as big as the astral body. And then beyond that, where your hands are, if you stretch your arms, is basically your body of spirit, or what you call as the Atma, right? In Sanskrit, right? So what is this Atma? What is this body of spirit? This is the highest body. This is actually divine will, right? So now you see, how does, this view actually appear in front of us? This view itself is the paradise. You see, the way how the view appears, that is actually God, or the reality itself present right in front of you. And if you keep on, going in this direction, going in that direction, doing this, doing that, you will never ever actually understand, you see, what did Sage Ramana actually teach? Because all that Sage Ramana taught for 50 years is that for you to realize your true nature, right? You're not going to realize your true nature unless you look at yourself, unless you start there, right? Now, what happens is that you see the divine will from your atomic body acts on this divine intuition, right? Where is the divine intuition? That is your bodic body, right? When the divine will acts on the divine intuition, that is how the light of consciousness flows, via your mental, astral, and physical bodies. And that is how intuitively, without any thought, without any feeling, you see, the objects or the view appears in front of you, right? Now you may be saying that, Anilji is actually just giving a theoretical background. It is not a theoretical background. Would you like me to prove it to you now?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, let us actually do this exercise. So Sanjayji, I would like you to pick any object where you are sitting. Please pick an object.
There's a stool in front of me.
Okay, let's work on the stool, right? So I told you to please pick an object. So you said okay, and you looked somewhere, and the stool, it came right in front of you, isn't it? Right? The stool is there. You said that the stool is there, right? Now the thing is this: that look at it. You see, the view of that stool was right in front of you the moment you directed your attention there, isn't it? Right? Mm-hmm. So how did this view of the stool appear, right? This is because the divine will from your atomic body or spirit body acts upon that divine intuition, and that is how intuitively that object actually appears in front of you. But now I'm going to ask you a question. What did you pick, Sanjayji? What actually appeared in front of you? What are you saying? That what object did you pick?
Was a stool.
That's right. So you see, now I asked you, what did you pick? And you said, I picked a stool, right? So isn't that a thought? Look at it very carefully. You see, when you say that, it is a stool, so that is a thought flowing into you, right? So look at it. First, the image appeared. The divine will acted on the divine intuition. Intuitively, the object appears, right? And then you said that actually it is the stool, right? So that's a thought, right? Now, another thing I'll ask you, what is the color of the stool?
It has black legs, and it's of glass on the top.
Okay, so it's got glass. It's got black legs and there's glass on it, right?
Glass on the top.
Yeah. So that's again another thought, because you're describing this stool to me, right? Now, if I ask you actually the question that do you like the stool the way it is? Do you like it?
Yep.
Okay, so right, that's an emotion now. Now you said that yes, I like it the way it is. And then suddenly if I take that stool, right, I pull off that glass bit from it and I smash it against this orange wall or whatever you've got at the back, would you like that? Well, you're saying probably won't. So here is another emotion. You see, on one side you like the stool as it is, right? And then you said that if Anilji smashed it against the wall, absolutely you are going to hate that actually. You see, that's an extreme emotion. So you've got a liking and a disliking there. So did you see that now comes actually the feeling about the object? Look at it, right? And then last of all, the question is, where is all these things happening? I mean, where are you actually sitting? Where are you? Where is this stool? Where is this wall? Which plane are we in? Where are we? Right? So what's your answer to that?
Time and space.
No. Time and space is there. Of course, we know time and space is there. But the simple answer to that is it's right here in the physical plane, isn't it? With reference to the physical body, right? So look at it. So just by this simple exercise, I have proven to you that what Sage Ramana has been teaching, right? And still people are actually following. This is what the sage was talking. Go within. You see, what happens is that no one looks at the divine will and the divine intuition. No one looks that changelessly, seamlessly, unknowingly, the view always appears in front of you. Right? When the view appears, then you pick an object and then the thought flows. Look, we are coming from outside. Right? Divine will, acting on divine intuition, the view appears. Now when the view is there, then we pick an object, then thought flows. When the thought flows, then after that the emotion was flowing. Right? And then where was it? It was with reference to the physical body. So can you see? There's the physical body. Then there is the emotion, your astral body. After that is the thought. And after that is the body of intuition. And after that is the spirit. It's a sequence. And the speed of this sequence is so huge that you hardly capture it. Now, the thing is this, fundamentally, this is the mistake which we make. We are always busy with our thoughts, busy with our feelings, and busy with our physical activities. We are always looking at that which is actually changing, and we never look at that which is changeless. Right? And you see, this is the universal truth. There is no human being in whom the view does not appear, in whom that light of consciousness is not there. So basically, this is just a very simple exercise. I go very deep into that. But this is what we are talking about. Who am I? I've just given you two methodologies where, you see, until you get in touch with that which is changeless, right? And this, what you're calling as what is changeless, is present in so many forms, right? You can actually see so many things. When you look at space, space itself is a changeless entity. Space remains space. When you look at time, time as well is a changeless entity, because time remains as time. It does not become Anil ji or Sanjay ji, right? So you see, even when you start looking at those things which are actually changing, you find something actually changeless in that. The light always remains as light. The darkness always remains as darkness, even though they have appeared within space and time. So unless you see your first part of the journey in Who Am I is to find out where is the self present, where is this reality present in its changeless form. That is why one of the followers of Sage Ramana had actually said, the paradise or the reality is right in front of your eyes, but do you have the eyes to see it? Right? So I hope that in part I have answered this question of yours, Sanjay.
Thank you very much. Anything else you want to tell about the spiritual seekers? This was all very good and very profound, and I hope that people who are listening to it will have benefit from it. And I would ask them to contact you through the website sageramana.org or on your email, and they can be in touch with the regular satsangs.
So the only thing that I will really actually pass on to whoever actually may be watching this, Sanjay ji, you see, you've always got to, if you really want to attain self-abidance, or if you really want to be like Gautam Buddha or Sage Ramana or Master Biensa Douno, look, the first thing is that you must actually realize that your only true guru, the true guru that will never die, the guru that is present in every moment, the guru that has been present in all your lives which have gone and which are to come, is actually nothing but this changeless reality, the light of consciousness, right? Because without that, how can you actually, view objects, work with objects, thought, or have any feeling? But who can actually really teach you about this, right? So this is very, very important, that you must actually, if you want to take on a guru who is in the physical form or a disembodied form, not in the physical form, then you must actually choose the one who is already in self-abidance, right? Because only that entity knows what they're actually talking about. Look, Sage Ramana lived in the self, throughout his life. And that's the only thing that he actually taught. Master Biensa Douno actually came, and there was nothing these people want for themselves, but only for human beings to grow, especially spiritually. So that is why he also actually didn't want anything for himself, but this is actually basically what he was actually teaching, right? So this is very, very important. So listen to your heart, right? Because your feelings and your thoughts may mislead you based on what your character is. but your heart will not. Right? So that is all basically that I can really add, to assist, individuals. If you follow Jesus, if you follow Sage Ramana, if you follow Master Biensa Douno, if you follow Ved Vyas or you follow Mandukya, you cannot go wrong, because that is what for these people actually came to earth, right? So with that, I presume, that's my parting word.
Thank you, Anilji. Thank you very much. Namaste. Thanks for giving your time, and hope more people get into self-abidance and get help from your wisdom and teachings. And we will keep doing these types of satsangs more often. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.